Hello, my peeps. There's nobody here yet. But if I'm taping this to the screen, I will start talking. Okay. Okay. So, I hope you can hear me okay. Um, this evening, I'm going to talk about anxiety and social anxiety mainly, but just any sort of anxiety and going somewhere new. Um, I I I know when I went to Michigan for my the memorial for my sister, that was entirely exhausting. But it was different than what I'm going to talk about. And I'm sorry, but I'm just preoccupied that the right is so weird. The right lip balm is not here. Okay. So my lips look pale. I'm very self conscious of that. So please try to ignore it. Um, this don't help. But okay, so I'm with the topic. The topic um, specifically is occasionally I live now and for some time, many years, several years, many years, lived in a rural setting. Um, right now, I live in town, um, but I'm surrounded by farm land. Uh, and it takes me, depending on where in the city I'm aiming for, it can take 1.5 to 2 hours, and there's like in town, like there's people say I have to go to the city to go see this doctor, and it's really the outskirts of the city. I'm going to be talking about downtown. So, um, before I lived in a rural area surrounded by farms, or in fact, I lived on a small, I guess you would call hobby farm for a while, um, which was nice. I liked it. Some of my videos were done there, way the old ones. Before that, I always lived in a suburban setting. So, um, when I was a teenager, I would go in groups to the city, to the VP Fair. Look it up. It was this, I don't even know if it's still going, but in St. Louis, it was massive. Um, Concerts and stuff. But I was 16, 17, 15. And, and I had discovered my niche, my crowd, punk punk rockers, specifically death rockers. So this is before goth. Um, so I felt uh, I had no idea where we were going or how we were getting there. The highways, the roads, the northwest, east. I just knew I I'm a petite person. I'm a little bigger right now, but when I was teen, I was small. It's tiny. So people kind of just naturally wanted to take care of me. And I kept that role. So I never needed to know where I was going. So I didn't. And also, I do believe I spent a good part of that time in hypomanic states. So I I didn't have a lot of concerns about going places, because I was safe with my people. They knew where they were going. If we got lost, I was still safe. Um, so it was a different life. It was a lifetime ago. I now, like 35 years later, um, I still see we went to concerts. I still love music. I listen to the music I did then, but obviously those people aren't. If they're playing, it's not the same scene. It's not the same thing. I in the '90s, I was into the feminist punk coming out of um, Portland, Oregon, and the other town in Oregon, and to a lesser extent, Seattle. Um, and we're talking Bikini Kill, Bratmobile. Um, and in there at that time was Sleater Kinney. And I say Sleater Kinney, it's really Slater Kinney, but I found out too late. It's like reading a word over and over in a book, but you've never heard it pronounced, so you don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what it means and everything. But so later I found out it was Slater Kinney. A little deceptive in the spelling there, but they were pretty much, well, gossip. Not many people, bands, or people in that scene evolved with time. And one of the exceptions is Slater Kinney. It's my favorite band in the whole world. They went from this sort of just angry feminist screaming, I barely know how to play my instrument music, to playing with great finesse and really having more of a rock and roll, like a good rock and roll in the 70s kind of rock and roll. Like the Woods, to me, their album The Woods sounds a lot like, to me, feels like Led Zeppelin or something. And so they have managed to evolve, except for this one album called Center Won't Hold. Just forget that even happened. That sucked. So they are actually touring. They put on an album a few years ago, and I went to the concert in Kansas City. I went alone. And it was easy. I did one technique I have when I'm going to be doing something of that nature is I case the joint. And this is so sad for someone my age. My mom drove to help me. Now, isn't that awesome? To help me one day before the concert, we drove to the venue. And so we saw the theater. I saw the theater where they were at and gonna play, where I was gonna go into the building. And parking was just right across the street. It was just like a parking lot. And there wasn't a whole lot around. So, and there was a kind of liquor store across the street. And so I felt like, well, I think this is going to be easy with my GPS. Um, if if you don't know, I can't go anywhere without my GPS, and it has got to be. I am not sponsored by, and I am not promoting Garmin, but I cannot follow the one on my phone. I can it. I get confused. Um, it has to be the brand Garmin. It can't be the other one. I forgot what it was called, but um, I, in quick backstory is I had ECT, and it, among other things, it messed up my ability to comprehend direction. And this is going to come up into my story. So it was really easy for that one. And I had a really good time. I did feel awkward that I was alone. And I think a person or two kind of looked at me funny. But got myself a lot of merch. It was an awesome concert. Went home, was really happy I went. And so this last album wasn't bad. It was pretty good. There are a lot of stuff on it I like, and they play stuff from older albums. And they're coming to Kansas City. So I think I'll go again. But they're not using the same theater, they're using a different theater. And so I thought, well, I'll just do what I did the first time, except it got a little complicated. Well, first I looked online and I just looked at the regular map feature. I looked at the website of the theater, and they had some maps on there, like for parking, which turned out to not be much of a help for me, but I printed it out just in case. But and then I did Google Maps to get a idea of like streets names and um, things like that. Um, and I could tell that it was going to be complicated. And it was I was getting kind of stressed. And today was the dry run. This time, my mom did not go with me. I took my service dog, and I'm so glad I did, because I was stressed, but with him there, I could handle the stress. I did have a little moment, I'll tell you a little bit about it, where I was having a really bad time trying to get back to my car. Um, here's the problem. This theater is really downtown. And so the streets are completely lined with really tall, not skyscrapers, but really tall buildings and office buildings, a lot of banks. And then I saw that sign that I was in the bank district, a lot of banks and a lot of parking garages, um but some of them were for parking only for hotel or whatever. and I needed to find the one that I was going to be parking at for the um, actual night of the event. And that was hard because, and I was like, I don't care if I have to walk a few blocks or what. So I just kind of drove around until I found one, and I parked there, and I asked the attendant, what are the hours? Is this public? And what are the hours? And it's 24/7 is public parking. So I know I marked it on my, I saved it on my GPS. It comes up on my phone map. And so the name of the garage. So I think I'm going to be okay there. But today I left to walk to the theater. And I got to the theater. I found it quite easily. Um, and my service dog had never been in this city. And he was such a champ. The um, cars going by, people on these like electric scooters that the city provides, um, traffic and buttons to make the walk sign pop up, and there's a where to go potty, and he he wasn't freaked out or anything. We even went in a um twice a when we went in a store, revolving door, and he just acted like he'd been doing it all along. So um he was very helpful in that. And so I get to the theater, and I'm like, okay, so I marked the theater, and I analyze what it looks like and what is around it, because I can remember images. So I have to go see things. I can't remember names and left, right, west, east. So I'm trying to get back to the parking garage, and I can't walk around with my Garmin GPS that's in my car, which I absolutely prefer. So I'm using my phone, but it just doesn't do it the same way. And it reverted to walking directions instead of driving, and then went and switched away from keeping north up. And so I was walking in the wrong direction and couldn't figure out how. I couldn't figure out where I was in the world. It was like I felt like I don't have anything tiny. I felt like there's this giant world, and it was this itty bitty, itty tiny little speck that had no idea what was up, down, left, right, east, west, north, south. And this thing in my hand was not helping me, and I was getting kind of angry and upset. And see, the thing is, when you're downtown, all you see when you look ahead are these walls, and they all look the same from that angle, because you have to be right up on a building to turn and look at it face on and see what it looks like. If you just look down the street, you can't say, oh, yeah, there it is. Everything looked the same no matter what direction I looked in. And and I got to a spot where nothing looked familiar, and it kept saying I was getting further away, and it was starting to get warm, and so my dog was getting hot, and I didn't want him to overheat. And finally, I figured out the problem was there is this little thing on the screen that if you push it, it makes it go to where north, if you're traveling north, it goes straight. It keeps north up. And then it clicked in my head. It fit more like how my Garmin works. And I was like, oh, I'm walking. My brain couldn't comprehend that I was walking in the wrong direction, even though there were signs that I was walking in the wrong direction. I couldn't figure it out. I turned around, and then it all made sense after I pushed that button. And I got back to the parking garage. And there's always some, like I come from where I live, and you're riding on highway straight for 30 minutes, and then another highway for 30 minutes, and then when you get closer to the city, and especially when you get downtown, it is so complicated, the highway system, and it wants you to get off to the left and now get off to the right, stay in this lane to go there. And it was actually easier going home than getting there. Luckily, I will be arriving while it is still daylight. Trust me, I'm going to be getting there well ahead of time. So I can't take my service dog to the concert, which is a shame, but anyway, I have to do it alone, but I have where I'm supposed to park saved, so I can go straight to that spot. And there is a button on the Garmin that no matter where you are at, if you push go home, it takes you home. You can take all the wrong turns you want. You always end up going home. So that's what keeps me from freaking out the most. If I did not have these tools, I would not be able to go anywhere, even where I live. So, I have gone for walks in my neighborhood and had to call my mom to come and get me because I couldn't figure out where I was. I mean, I could read the names on the streets, but I couldn't understand where I was in relation to where I live. And so that's ECT for you. That's not the only thing it messed up. The abstract time, abstract money. Anyway, so these are my tips to anyone having to or wanting to go to something, somewhere, a museum, an event. I know it's always itches when I do these. And you're anxious. You want to go, but you're anxious. Maybe you don't know anyone that can go with you. There's no reason that you should end your life and not have done some things that you just wanted to do. Um, there is, with everything, you got to find a way. In We have more challenges, so we have to come up with more ways of getting through it. But even if you didn't enjoy the activity, your success in that you got there and got home is a lot. So, here are my tips on things. They're pretty, they're easy. You could think of them yourself unless you were so anxious you can't think of them. And that's prepare. Like I did on my computer, I looked at maps, Google Maps, regular street maps. Um, if you look at a website of a place, they usually have directions on their website, and you click it and it gives you directions straight to there. You can have, it's nice to have more than one way of getting to where you want to go or getting home. Um, write or print out the directions, print out a map or get a map if they sell them anymore. Mark it on your GPS, whatever you're using, so you can be familiar with, what highways you're going to be taking, at least, in the street names, and does it look, so you know ahead of time if it looks like it's going to be a crowded, like I was in. Um, Google Maps is really good for that. You can find, okay, it's going to be just this one house and nothing but farms around it, or it's going to be in the city. So, my Garmin even has a little doohickey where I can say parking, and it will tell me, list different parking, and I can check them out. But that was too hard for me. um, and your outfit well ahead of time. Try it on. Don't just say, well, I think I'm going to wear this or that. I think this or that will look good. And try it on. Move around in it. I'm very, my self esteem can be completely destroyed by a shirt or pants that don't fit comfortably. If they are too tight and I feel like my body is spilling out, I feel hugely and enormously overweight and I'm uncomfortable, and it just adds to the stress. So I always sit down in the clothes I'm going to try on to see if I'm comfortable. You want to be comfortable and you want to be confident and you want to be yourself. Some people might be comfortable reinventing themselves every time they go out. I like to be me. So for this upcoming concert, I am wearing a orangey rust colored t-shirt and jeans, stretchy jeans, and my olive colored corduroy Converse. those are my favorite colors. And those clothes are comfortable. And um and like some days clothes fit and some days they don't, because I have irritable bowel syndrome and I have periods where my abdomen is distended and people think I'm pregnant. And then I have periods where it looks normal. And so, I sometimes will have a backup, but usually I pick an outfit that will um, be comfortable with me regardless. And my Converse, those particular Converse, I have like 7 pair. Um, they are my comfortable, confident shoes, and those corduroy ones are like my dress Converse. Um, so um, I don't know socks yet. I'm gonna have to figure out socks. Um, and I'm trying to decide. I've been having my hair pink lately. As you can see, I need to do my hair, and I've been wanting to go yellow. Not like day glow yellow. It's a just a regular average mustard yellow. Um, but then I thought it's probably not a good idea to experiment beforehand. Um, so I think I'm going to hold off on that. I probably will do the lightning to get my roots. So um, I can feel comfortable in my appearance, which is really easy for me since I wear very little makeup when I do wear it. Um, thank goodness I don't worry about eyeliner or anything like that. Um, make sure that you have ways of paying that you won't be stuck. Cash. Always have cash. Always have a debit card and then a backup credit card if you can. And then you got to have your phone. Make sure your phone is charged fully. Take a charger if you need to. But here's the thing is I always panic about losing my phone and my cards and stuff. Make sure you wear something or put them somewhere. I'm mainly talking about women or anybody that prefers to wear their things in a purse or something, so that you won't like set it down and walk away from it, or drop something from it or get it stolen. I have a little purse that I wear across my chest over my shoulder so that I know those things are safe and secure and it's not very bulky at all. And I'm not going to leave them in my seat and get home, and that would kind of suck. And do drive by if you need to. Um, and if you can have someone go with you on the drive through, that's always helpful because it brings the anxiety level down depending on the person. And then allow yourself plenty of time to get there. Even if you end up getting there ridiculously early, you don't want to be caught in all the traffic and not being able to find somewhere to park and not being able to find where to park. And then when the event is over and you get to your car, wait a while. Let the main congestion die out before you start heading home. It will also help you come down from the all the emotions that you're having from the event, any anxiety or happiness, satisfaction. You can just take a minute in your car before you start driving home, um, and just sort of relax. And um, I I right after this in September, I'll be going to the Renaissance Festival. But I've been going there for so long. The people know me and my dog, and I can dress like as a witch, which is what I dress as, but that's normal there. And I actually call it my second home. It's not a stressful environment for me, even though it's a convoluted kind of path, but I um I try to find my way, but usually I just walk around, and it's like leave it by chance. I just try to This is like one time in my life I try to just let go and just let it happen because I'm there for hours. So I have time to be lost, and you never know what you're going to come upon. Um, I don't feel that sensation very much in life. That's why I like going so much, because it's like this little contained. It's this village, and um, it's it's like home to me. And it takes me 2 hours to drive there and 2 hours to drive home, but I love it so much because I don't feel that way anywhere else at any other time in my life. Everything else is very structured and um, controlled or in order. And when it isn't, I get discombobulated and sad that I can't just be, that I have to go through all this other crap just to, you know, go through life. And um, I think that's why I don't like being around people very much, is because they're so hard to control and they're so unpredictable, and they have their own needs and wants, and not often do they ever react how you anticipate. Um so I like to go to a fantasy world. So I don't consider that a major event to get ready for. I am getting a new outfit for it. Um but this concert is going to be difficult driving, I think. And I'm a little confused because my ticket says 8 p.m. and the theater thing says 7 p.m. So I have to find that out. Um, okay, so it's like I've had to take to get through today, the drive through, a Xanax before I left and a Xanax when I got back, and CBD oil. Make sure if you do go to an event, take your med if you're taking one like an hour before so it's nicely in your system. So, um, so that was my great adventure to the city today with my service dog. Um, the concert's on the 12th. I'll imagine I'll have another video up by then, but in case I don't, just wish me luck. And I think I've been doing a lot of anxiety. I'm going to try to do, I need to do more mood videos. So that's what I'm thinking. But I am going to go to bed now. There was more I wanted to say. Maybe I'll make a video about it when it's all done. Okay, so good night to anybody who's out there. And don't find a way. Don't let the anxiety keep you trapped in your homes. Okay. Good night.